education that encourages
continual progress, the improvement of one's abilities, the expansion of one's interests and knowledge, and the growth of one's character. Could I have call to order a roll call, please, Joy?
Linda Duncan.
Here.
Tony Hurd.
Here.
Gary Mauer. Rob Metzger.
Here.
Tara Wing.
Here. All right. Agenda approval. Are there any additions, changes, or corrections, Mr. Burnett?
None.
All righty then.
I'd make a motion to approve the agenda.
A second?
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we'll go to minutes approval. We'll approve the October 10th, 2016 regular meeting first, please.
Move to approve the minutes from the October 10th meeting.
Second?
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to the October 26th, 2016 special meeting.
Motion to approve the October 26th special meeting.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Lastly, the October 26th work session.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the October 26th work session.
Second?
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. I see no correspondence. Public forum.
Mrs. Austin, will you introduce our speakers tonight, what they're going to talk about? We're glad they came.
I would love to.
There she
So make you
is.
nervous? Dr. Tammy Blaze, Amanda Shutt, and Rachel Sawyer are here to share a little bit about our early journey with our Lucy Calkins writing program that we purchased this summer. So with that, it's probably best that I say no more and allow them to take it away. I know what you want, you want to make it big.
I'm not here for tax purposes. Yeah,
Yeah.
strain not to squint.
Pull
Oh, really, my pretty slide.
But I want to, see, I still want to, I want to play it.
I just want to make it big.
You present. There you go.
Is that cold?
make it big.
Yeah.
There you go, girl.
Hey, thanks for your assistance.
I'm there for you.
Okay.
I think
It's already done.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, good.
whoa, we did this really fast. Wow, that was fast. Okay. So, yes, obviously, writing workshop. Why bother, right? Last year, when I took end of the year reflective surveys, the teachers, 58% said that they either thought this was an area that their kiddos struggled in and/or they wanted it to be a goal for improvement in their instruction this year. So I knew that there was a definite need. Obviously, the Common Core places a huge emphasis on writing. It's not just reading and math anymore. It really is the 3 R's. It's reading, write, and arithmetic. Writing's right up there. It's treated as an equal to reading. And obviously, Smarter Balance is coming up next year, which will require a lot of writing, to put it mildly. And kind of a personal mission or vision of mine is that all students need to have the opportunity to reach these high standards, and we want to provide them with not just a curriculum, not just a program, but the writing process, so that they can take that and they can use that anywhere in life. And I didn't include this, but we know that all of us write more than we ever did. I mean, I know some of it is just texting or emails, which is a form of writing, and writing has just increased a lot over the years. It's not just oral and verbal anymore. Lucy Calkins is the guru of writing, so keep that name in the back of your mind. She's conducted over 30 years of research into the writing process, and like she says, it's a process. It has specific phases, and us in the education world live by 2 words: explicit instruction. Writing is explicit too. It's not something we can just assume. So if we teach kids, give them this process, they can learn how to write. So what is it? Writing workshop, and it doesn't matter if you have a curriculum or not, because the workshop itself is a framework. You can have reading workshop, you can have math workshop. So this is just the setup. The teacher instructs for a very, very short time, which is probably the toughest, and it's tough for me. I love to talk. But it's short, it's sweet, and the kiddos know what they're going to be learning that day. Then we send them out for independent writing time, and you can see, obviously, we gauge it according to the grade level. We pull them back in at the very end of workshop for, again, it's very short, a sharing time. Sometimes it's a whole group share, sometimes we get the kiddos into small groups or partners, but it gives them that knowledge and understanding that they're always writing for some kind of an audience. It's not just the teacher who's going to see their writing anymore. The basic principles here, that it's consistent. I'm happy to say that all the teachers had immediate buy-in with me. They are doing it 4 days a week. Some, I think you're doing it 5 for the most part. So it's done very consistently. A huge principle is that it's student choice. We talk a lot about what comes from the heart, so that the kids are motivated to write. Again, everything is aligned with, we bring back the standards, and there's 3, you can see the 3 kinds of writing. We just finished our very first unit, which was personal narratives. Some 1st grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 56, yes, are moving into the opinion. And, no, that's not right. I said that wrong. 1st grade's doing opinion, 4th grade's doing opinion. And then the other grade levels are moving into informational, which is kind of cute. At the kindergarten level, they'll be writing little how-to books. I'm teaching a section of 3rd grade, and we'll be writing chapter books of things that kiddos think that they want to teach others. So we're calling them, we call them writers. And now we're going into, and you're also teachers too, to know that they're going to be teaching somebody. So if you want to come and learn something eventually, we'll have that. And Mrs. Shutt has created a blog, so. Go, dear.
I wanted a way to showcase some of the kids' work. They're spending so much time writing, and some of it's really good writing, and some, they go on their Google Drive and they type it up, they send it to me, and then it's like, it's there. So how can we get that out? So I did create kind of a blog that has, so far, just got 3 pieces of writing on it.
And I apologize, I thought this was a link. It's not a link.
If you copy and paste it, probably just put it into the. So my thought is to kind of choose, with each kind of thing, choose a couple people that have written a really good piece of writing, kind of work with them to clean it up maybe just a little bit more, and then post it on there, and hopefully kind of keep track of who's been on it, who hasn't, to try to get most of the kids on there throughout the year.
That was blog.
Blogs.
Go back to your, go back to the slide. You have blogs up.
Oh. While she's getting this up, in all seriousness, I would invite you to come and, when we finish every unit, we do have a big celebration, and it is nice to give the kids different people to read to and celebrate their writing with. So I would hope that you could come and visit any grade level sometime. Oh, there you go.
So here's one of, actually, maybe one of our students who receive some services for reading, not for writing though, but he has just been, the amount that he is writing has been awesome. So, where is it at? Really been working on a small moment that they all want to write about, this huge vacation that they went on, and then it just ends up being more just telling what they're doing, really trying to narrow it down. And a lot of them have been writing about rides. But then they can focus just on a short amount of time, and then they really kind of get into more detail, and their writing just is a little bit, gets to be a little better with that. So that's been kind of neat to see. But then when you show them one piece, that way then it all starts being, but it is definitely their choice what they write about.
I don't have that, but the first time doing it, it's been a time consuming as teachers to take the time every night, because it's pretty much a one night thing to prepare for the next day. So at the beginning of it, reading it, thinking there's no way these kids are going to do this. There's no way I'm going to say, explain my small moment and say, okay, I want you to think of one, and they're all going to say, okay, and go right back to their seats and do it. And that's exactly what happened. So I was not giving them enough credit the whole time. So what I brought, and I can just pass these around, are we have to do a prompt, on-demand prompt. So they get about 15 minutes in first grade. I let them think and plan and figure out what they wanted to write about. And then I pass out the paper and gave them 15 minutes to write. If they got done writing, they could draw the picture, and if they didn't, then there was no picture. But so I had to do that, and it was the first Monday of school with the on-demand, and then I did mine again, I think, last Monday. So I just brought their three kids, pre and post, but their scores jumped, dramatically. The first time, I have, this one's a very, very bright one, but that's all they wrote, and then the second time I've got 3 pages worth of writing. So I can pass those around. This is actually 4 pages worth of writing, but I'll go ahead and pass those around, or a couple at a time. But it is amazing to see how much they were put into the writing the second time. Their scores are on there as well. I think the highest you can score is 44, and I had one who got a 37, which is great for a first grader, because that's through second grade, isn't it? Right, Tammy?
Yes, that would be, yeah, definitely above grade level.
And in some of them, you can see, what I also noticed this year is how much the writing standards tie in with the reading standards.
Yeah.
And like doing our report cards, I'm like, wow, all these things that said NA at the beginning of the year are now no longer NA, because they're getting taught that through writing. It's all about the illustrations and bringing characters to life and talking about how they're feeling and thinking.
I really like the rubric that goes with it. It's always been, when you're trying to grade writing, how do you grade this? And it really gives you a very concrete, this is where it is.
And just the skills that they're hitting this early in the year. I have kids that were using quotation marks. I don't think I've ever even brought that into our curriculum before.
Well, and ellipses, that was
Yes,
a new
ellipses
term
are-
for a first grader. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
There you go.
We also take the time with our whole grade level team to score them together, which is nice, because then you at least have the idea of what, so they're all similar in scoring, because this could be pretty subjective.
Yeah, there are
So-
subjective parts too. And you probably noticed nothing's been written with a pencil.
Oh, I meant to say that.
Yeah, so go ahead.
The whole purpose, they write with pens, because we want them to see their mistakes, so they cross them out and continue to write. Because we really push stretching out sounds, because some of them, I mean, we don't focus a lot on spelling words perfect. It's using the phonetic sounds that they hear, or using our word wall. So anytime they make mistakes, they cross it off and then write it next to it. And that, from what I've heard, goes along really well with the Orton Gillingham, which is what,
Yeah, so, yeah, the other training.
there's a lot of things are really tying together.
Yes.
That's what I've noticed the most with the writing, is how much it ties in with everything else we're doing. And the longer you do it, the less time it takes at night to explain to the next day.
Yes, that's right, that's right.
Rachel, what was the time frame you said you started?
They only, oh, sorry.
The
go ahead.
first one to the second one? What was the time?
They went the first Monday of
Oh,
school,
okay. And then
was
just,
in August, and then
Okay.
again last month. Now, that one went pretty slowly, because as a teacher, we slowed it down a lot. Because it's really hard to give yourself, all right, 10 minutes and I'm gonna let them go. And that took a lot, because Tammy came and watched me for most of that whole unit. And that was my goal, was try to get 15 minutes at the max and then send them off on their own.
Yeah, yeah, that's the hard
And
part.
like I started the opinion today, and my lesson one is gonna continue on to the next day, because it takes a little bit to figure out exactly how it's gonna work.
And they're just learning that process, like Rachel said, if they make an error, they draw a line through it. We taught them the carrot, so they're learning editing
I
marks.
should have brought those in, they're marked.
Yeah,
up.
those were fun, and the kids learned that if they want to add something, the teachers have little strips that they tape. I know one of the fourth grade teachers came and she said, oh my goodness, we're gonna run out of tape, because the kids were revising so much. But just the fact that they can see, it's not, in fact, Lucy Calkins has, you know, when you're done, you've really just begun. It's not a one and done anymore. And the teachers have created anchor charts. When a kiddo says, oh, I think I'm done now, what can I do?
Ask who,
And
what,
kids
when.
don't come up anymore and say, oh, I'm done. Now they know that it's an ongoing process. It's a living document. They understand what that is.
They, you know, in the past, there was like we focused on one opinion piece. They wrote every day. They have, and if they had a folder, and if they were done with it and didn't want to go back to it, they put it in the I'm done with it side, and then, or I have kids that the next day would say, I want to go back and finish that story. So by the end of it, they took home like 15 stories.
Yeah, yeah. the volume
That weren't
has really
finished, they
increased.
gotta go through and pick the one that they wanted a fancy of, and then that's when we celebrated with, when they were all done.
Any questions from our writers?
Cool. I'll tell you this super fast story, and then I have to go home and read and get ready for my lesson tomorrow. But a sixth grader who I had as a kindergartner and has struggled his entire life and will struggle his entire life. And he created a book, and he was so cute because the book had 8 pages in it, and 8 pages of writing for this child. Just letter formation is still, he's a sixth grader, is still very difficult for him. And he was so proud of himself, and we lined up to celebrate a class to read to. And he was so cute. He was all the way downstairs today. He says, my stomach is tied in knots. And then as it was, a teacher stuck her head and she says, oh, will you come and read to my class? And he turned to me, he goes, this is my best day ever. And I thought, oh, it gives me goosebumps just to think about it again. If nothing else, we have motivated that child, and he has an audience, and he had a purpose for that writing. And when we got done, he went back and he said, well, you know, this isn't the last book in my series. I'm going to write another one. And so I'll just leave it with that. Oh, yeah. Did you show that?
we saw that.
Oh,
Yeah.
was that just the
Yes.
best?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I loved it. And that was right away in September. We need that kid transferred right away. But, now.
Good stuff.
Yes,
Thanks for
very
coming
good.
tonight.
You bet, thank you. Okay.
Not that I'll go right.
She's just gonna roll up the screen.
Good night.
Yeah,
Tammy,
thank you.
Tammy,
Bye.
she's just gonna roll up the screen. Don't be.
Oh. No,
See you, thanks, you guys.
thank you. All right. No recognition, business financial functions.
And number 5, the taxation fund reports ending October 31st. And, if you have any comments or questions, but if you go to the 3rd page, which is the bond construction fund, shows at the end of October that we had $320,267. We have $80-some thousand in the bills this month, and we still have a little over $200,000 outstanding. So we're getting down to around $25,000-$30,000 left in that account. So just FYI on that. Any questions or comments? Any of the taxation funds? If not, we'll go to number 6, which is instructional support through October 31st. The revenues that we've received year to date at the top, then our budget in the middle of that first page with what we've spent to date at the bottom, and what is remaining is on the top of the second page. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll move to number 7. Self-insurance fund. And the lower left-hand corner is the fund breakdown. Revenues and expenditures at the top, which we've not put any money in yet from the general fund for the medical. That's still sitting in the payable account. And you can see that our vision, we've been paying a lot more vision claims since we've increased our benefits. But that balance is still up around $100,000. Any questions or comments on any of the self-insurance funds, medical, dental, and vision? Number 8 is latchkey. Have the school year program at the top. So I think I mentioned this last month, but previous month would be September, and then current month October. And in both of those months, we had a no school day. So when you see casual full day, like in September there were 21 students, in October there were 10. The vast majority, if not all of those students, would also be counted somewhere up above, but that's how we took in tuition for them. So just a reminder on that those 10 full day students are probably also above somewhere before, after, or before and after. But actually for the revenues and expenditures for October, it's much closer to where it should be. Any questions or comments? The next report would be the period vendor report for Latchkey. In addition to payroll, how they spent their money in the month of October. Any questions or comments on that? Number 10, nutrition fund. The first page has the lunch and breakfast program usage for the month and year-to-date, meaning school year-to-date. Page 2, finances. Questions or comments? 11 would be the period vendor report for nutrition fund in addition to payroll, how they spent their money in the month of October. Any questions or comments? 12, first page is the activity fund. Drama, speech, and musical drama. Talked about those before. They'll be in the hole until they have the event, and hopefully won't be in the hole too much after that. You can see the total for the music accounts, not counting the musical drama and the athletics in the far right column. Any questions or comments on any of the activity fund accounts?
Robotics club,
Yeah, it's always the fees they
That
have to
is-
pay beginning of the year, and they don't,
to be in the, okay.
right, they don't make any money, they usually apply for some grants.
See, the trap club's starting to get some money built up for their program.
Which club?
Our trap shooting,
Oh.
$78.99, it's near the bottom, page 2.
That's in the agency fund. They've been
Oh.
doing fundraisers.
Oh, an agency, okay, I was looking. Oh, yep. Yeah.
I thought I heard they had over 30 kids participating. Pretty impressive.
Any other questions or comments on any of those funds? And then the period vendor report is next, number 13. For all of those funds for October expenditures. Number 14, co-curricular driving. All the athletics at the top. Have a mix of fall sports going into the winter sports. And then our classroom and the other, which Special Olympics and Zion will be billed for the entire cost of mileage for the use of the bus. Driver breakdown at the bottom. Any questions or comments on co-curricular driving for October, November? And then 15, extra payroll expenses. Anything that is not already on a contract or have been previously approved by the board, which for instance, this month will be all the bonus payments that was decided during negotiations. But they're not on here because you guys have already approved how much each job class gets, so.
When you talk about transportation, if we turned in from the bus accident, is there anything gonna be needed? Have we heard anything on that?
And, the other insurance company should pay for everything.
Right, but I didn't know if we'd, I'd let the board know. I just
Correct.
following
Yeah.
up if there was anything we needed.
Sam said he was taking that bus to school bus sales this weekend, so I didn't hear anything from him today.
Good.
Any questions on any of the extra payroll expenses? And then last, number 16, the bills from taxation funds. The first several pages are the general fund. And we do have several invoices for the bond construction fund, but only one is from a contractor through Point Builders, and that'd be the Tri-City retainage. And then one cent sales tax, there are several there for that fund, which is, the regular is Fund 33, then Fund 34 is for special projects, and that's where we're running the demolition of the elementary building, which began today. So the payment for Environmental Edge is everything less their retainage. Not sure why they didn't request the retainage, but they didn't, so we're still holding that. And their change orders didn't end up being as bad as we thought they could be, right? They were
Exactly.
like 60,000, I think, above their bid, which 42,000 of it was just for the roof, the asbestos on that 72 edition roof.
Yeah, and that, like Stacy said, that's just the 72 edition. We were worried it'd be on all three sections of it.
So good. All righty.
And Pepple bill, new law last year, I think is when that went into effect, that any major repairs to a bus that are over $2,500, like for one repair, can be taken from Pepple. So bus 43 had a major repair, which just happens to be the bus that just was in the accident last week. So,
Bus stolen?
this was taken out of Pepple because it's over almost $6,200.
Right.
So. Any questions or comments on any of the bills from any of the taxation funds?
A little unrelated, have we heard anything more about the floor in the gym? And what you wanna do
No,
with that?
just the email I sent you guys and included you on it with Tim Anderson, and he just said that they're still in the process of that,
Okay.
but from what I understand, and that's why I was trying to leverage our perspective of, hey, what's going on, to, see some finality with that. But that's still, like we talked about at the work session, their game plan is to use their insurance company to leverage the contractors' insurance companies and say, hey, you are on the hook for this. But in terms of a timeline and where they're at, when I got back that day, which I'm assuming is what you got back, that's the last I've heard.
I still think we should try to twist their arms saying, well, get your insurance company to pay this and let them subrogate against the contractors' insurance companies. Because we still keep getting outstanding invoices for all of those vendors. And it's been several months now.
When was the last invoice, or what was the date on the last invoice we received? I mean, how recently has that been?
Just last week, we got an invoice from one of the vendors wanting, and Amy called them and said, didn't you get a letter saying that this was tied up? And the person she talked to did not know anything about that. So, 'cause I think we have 3 or 4 vendors that are not getting paid because,
Well, let's talk tomorrow and strategize on how we can send those to their insurance company or directly to the Point, so they know too.
try to
Go
get
that
that
angle.
taken care of.
Right. Let the
So-
Because they
vendors-
wanted us to pay them. And then being, I don't think that we should do that.
But so we need to let the vendors know again.
Right. Well, Point
So
Builders was
that
supposed to do that.
I,
So, And they may have, it's just
Correct.
this person she spoke with did not know
Correct.
that, so.
But I think we should make sure that they know.
And I'll keep you in the loop. That's the reason I emailed them to say, hey, you know, what's the game plan? And if you guys have any individual questions, you got a contact there too, so.
Okay, great. All right.
Anything else on your end, Stacy, other than what's been presented?
Any other questions?
This is going back just a little bit. Do we participate in the tax offset program at all? Looking at there's a filing for some debt owed to the latchkey program. You know, do you ever do anything with the tax offset?
No.
Okay.
that
I'm not
doesn't-
100% sure if it would qualify or not, but with that, anytime anyone gets a tax refund, or I think even like a lottery or casino winnings that are reportable,
Mhm.
a portion's automatically flagged and withheld for the debt owed. So it's kind of a passive way of collecting, but it's a way still to
Right,
sometimes recoup some funds that are owed, so.
we have gotten some money from some of those claims, but we have not gone as far as to do the garnishment yet, with the small
Sure.
claims.
We use it quite a bit at work. It's pretty straightforward, I think, if we could get it set up, so. Something to think
Okay,
about.
Have Clarissa look at that. Do you have a website or something that you could email me?
I just Googled it, that.
Okay.
I can find out from the people who actually do that at work and see who's their coordinate, who they contact for it.
That'd be great.
who do the work.
Very good.
I'd make a motion to approve the bills.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
All right.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Stacy. On to administrative reports, Mrs. Austin.
Even though we went over the FAST universal screening fall results at the work session,
Mhm.
I wanted to include them in the board packets because they're so darn good.
Mm-hmm.
And I particularly like that comparison just because it is apples to apples as far as the tests we're taking and the time of the year and every grade levels, et cetera,
Mm-hmm.
with the AEA and state. And the fact that we outperformed everybody all up and down, I think it's just really a testament to how hard our teachers have worked and our associates and the plan that we have in place for the structure of that. So I'm really, really proud of that. And then the iBlock cycle data also is there, and those are the percent of kids who gain skill proficiency during that cycle. And as you compare those across the years is what I have there as a comparison. You can see that we're getting better at that as well, as expected in year 3. 95% group, which is what we use during iBlock, will be here on January 26th and 27th to work with all of our teachers. And on the back, in the PD section, or on the back, in the bottom of your sheet, Tammy took 5 teachers to the fall conference in Chicago, and she actually sat on a panel for instructional coaches. And one of the best parts of sending people out is when they come back and are so excited about how far ahead of the game we are. So again, I think that's thanks to you guys for allowing us and giving us the support to do what research tells us is best. The Lexia update is there. Our kids are moving on that as well. First trimester ends on Wednesday. So report cards will go home, or reporting at the end of a lot of the standards-based report cards, as well as we electronically send 5th and 6th grade, will happen on Monday the 21st. Digital citizenship, we have Allison has already been to grades 2, 4, and 6, and 1st grade. We use her as a resource from there now that we're all in one spot. Come down and talk to our people. She does a great job. Under the science category there, Mrs. Moritz again continues to invite experts in the field in to talk to our students, and they always appreciate that. She lands some pretty interesting characters who are very really get the kids' attention and make the kids think kind of outside the box. This is Michelle Burns from Muscatine County Conservation has got them all fired up, pollinator gardens. So, yeah. You haven't heard the last of that. They're going to be coming
That's
to
okay.
share some of their
Good.
ideas with you.
Have we seen influx of bees
Oh, good.
because of
We
this?
need them, Joe, we need them.
I know, we need, not, maybe not
Just
at
saying,
school,
we need
but
them.
we need them, yeah.
We have screens on the windows. That's-
Iowa assessments, we are finished in elementary, and Mrs. Owens is giving makeup tests right now. And again, that takes a village to get that done with everybody's special requirements that they need, and the amount of working parts that go into that, so I appreciate everyone's efforts are there. And our flag raising, thanks to everybody who made that possible. Mr. Burnett's ideas worked out very well for
It was
us
a nice
all.
day, the weather was good, that
Yeah,
helped a lot.
it was really nice. The kids really enjoyed it, and I'm sure Ben Shook will have some good pictures. And Leslie took some priceless ones, and Derek got some great ones.
Mhm.
I mean, it really is kind of very much a moving thing to see that
Mhm.
happen. So,
And the kids did very well too.
Great.
I mean, they were really, did. That's cool.
yeah,
Worked out great.
they did. The teachers did a very good job getting them to that point. Because I wasn't sure an hour prior that that's what that was going to look like. But it happened.
A lot of moving pieces,
Oh,
so they did a
yes.
great job.
So does anyone have any questions for me?
Thank you, Mrs. Austin. On to Mr.
Well, you can go
Crawford.
ahead and ask it. What do you need?
I would just say on ours, during Iowa assessments, we did the normal senior retreat, and Dan Steepleton always does a great job talking to kids truly about just what's out there, how to be careful, what's happening to your body when you're ingesting things that you probably should not be ingesting on those types of things. And he's very, very honest with them on those types of things there. And then Ted Moroff came in and did a great job as well. He has a video called Ted Moroff Roller Skating, if you go out to YouTube, and it shows him at Madison Square Garden as they go round and round, and he's kind of the big heavy that's in that. So he talked a lot about all the great people that have come from Wilton, his story on that, on his Wilton, and just told him to, if you see something, to go after it, because he said it was kind of strange, but he just really wanted to do that roller skating, and it took him all over the, I would say, the world, at least this hemisphere, for the most part. And so he's always very entertaining and has a lot of pictures of older Wilton that the kids got to see on that. Ashley Parker came from Mercy, talked about nutrition to the kids on the next day, and then Bobby Kaufman came in and talked about kind of his journey, his role in politics, and just about the upcoming election that we had. So he did a great job as well. So those are always I enjoy those conversations and stuff with the kids. Hopefully someday they'll look back and remember something from those, but a lot of positive stuff about people from Wilton on that kind of stuff. Variety show and marching band. Variety show went off without a hitch. Marching band, 15th consecutive Division I. So that's great to see. And a few things that we've been doing with our Mr. Patterson and with some of our hashtags and PD. The athletic side, I think the biggest thing that's coming up is now that the track's done, we're going to get a new scoreboard here in the next 2 months before it gets up. We just got a picture of it today, so we'll kind of tweak that. And it should be coming December 19th, I think, was the week that was on it. And so hopefully Joe can get that up over Christmas or something like that. But along with your pollinator gardens and stuff like that. Next month we'll have the Parade of Champions, so we'll go over all the volleyball, cross country, and football from this fall. All very successful. But there's some numbers there that are out. I noticed in the wrestling room tonight, I counted at least 20 guys in the room. They just gave me estimates on that. I didn't count basketball, and girls basketball is where they're at with that about 20 girls out there too. So all our numbers are pretty solid in those types of things there. But the concerts, Christmas concerts, believe it or not, before we meet again, we'll have some Christmas concerts under our belt. So lots of things coming at us. The first girls game, I think, is I want to say the 22nd. What's that Tuesday before Thanksgiving?
It's the 22nd.
Is the 22nd?
Yep.
That'll be the first one over at West Liberty, and then the boys and girls will begin then that next Tuesday after Thanksgiving. Wrestling, I think, starts the Thursday after Thanksgiving. So we're just right there. Really, it's just busy.
Mhm.
And not busy, it's just really it's gonna come fast. So, again, Parade of Champions next month. We'll
All right, any questions for Mr. Crawford? If not, we'll move on.
Yeah, I think we're 5 weeks away from Wednesday, beginning of Christmas break. And you put that into perspective.
Christmas shopping.
Yeah, fun. All right. Action items, consent agenda number 1.
Just one item underneath here is the business manager's job description. Stacy tweaked a few things on there, and I don't know if Stacy wants to talk about any of those, but just basically got it up to date on where we're at and the roles and responsibilities and how they're delegated in the office, on who does what she, her do's and don'ts, and what Joy does, and what Amy Marthaler does, and whatnot.
Good.
So, Stacy, you'll be around in 4 years when we review it again.
It's a lifetime position, isn't it?
Absolutely not.
It's a lifetime position, isn't it?
We forgot to tell you?
In 2020.
Without possibility of parole.
I'll be on parole. I'll be out here.
You can Skype in from the Ozarks.
We'll have
So-
a little remote desk for her. She can do it all this time.
So anyway, that's all I have under the first consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda number 1.
Second?
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Consent agenda number 2.
Really, it's the state guidelines, everything from the role of the board to office terms, vacancies, individuals, authorities, etc. I have no recommendations for any tweaks.
Pretty straightforward.
Yep. Should I have anything to the qualifications? You must bleed even blue. I don't know.
Qualifications, yeah.
Motion to approve consent agenda number 2.
Second?
Those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Individual action items.
Stacy can talk about this a little bit, but basically it's our SBRC request for additional allowable growth because of our enrollment increase. I don't know, Stacy, is there anything you really want to add to that?
No, and this shows you what our actual enrollment was in the fall of 2015 compared to 16, or up to 18.6 we talked about at the work session. And our current year district cost per pupil is the $6,591, which translates to $122,592.60 that will expand our unspent balance by doing this. So since we're educating these additional kids this year but not receiving any funding, that allows us to do this. So, and in my opinion, anytime we can increase our unspent authority, we should. So, and we will not be, at this point, we will not be taxing back for that because right now we have a large enough unspent balance that we cannot tax any cash reserve. So.
So those are individual action items.
Okay.
Motion to approve action item 1.
Second?
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Second.
Number 2 and number 3 will require a roll call vote
Okay.
because we're setting a hearing. Number 2, it's the hearing for our instructional support levy intent to participate, which is a 5-year board-approved levy. If the board wanted to, we could ask the community to vote on it for 10 years, but based upon our previous discussions, we'll continue what we've done in the past on the 5-year. And you can see what we intend to utilize the funding for. It's a continuance of what we've had for the past 5 years. But I'm asking that we set the hearing date and time as required by law to have a hearing prior to the vote, in case there's any public input, at our December 12th board meeting date at 5:15 p.m. And that's what we're setting tonight. That's what I'm requesting that we set tonight. So we need a motion and a second to take a roll call vote for this.
So move to set the hearing date for the instructional support levy, December 12th at 5:15 p.m.
I second.
Okay, Linda Duncan,
Yes.
Tony Hurd,
Yes.
Rob Metzger,
Yes.
and Tara Wayne.
Yes.
Very good, that's set. And number 3, a couple years ago, it was changed in the law of having a hearing for the calendars to give a little more transparency and any public input that may be. I shared a copy with the proposed calendar at the work session. I'd like to set the hearing for the adoption of the 17-18 district calendar at our December meeting. Therefore, we need to have a hearing, and it would make sense to do it at 5:25 p.m. prior to our monthly meeting.
So move to set the hearing date, time for the calendar for December 12th at 5:25.
I second.
Yeah, anytime he's in the hearing.
Linda Duncan,
Yes.
Tony Hurd,
Yes.
Rob Metzger,
Yes.
and Tara Wayne.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Under informational discussion items, Amber Salmons, used to be Amber Wernicke, for high school cheerleading. We've got enough interest in participants to have a cheer squad. So that's great. I think Amber's done a good job of getting kids excited, and you can see it even through the youth sports.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they had cheerleaders at the youth football games this fall, which I thought was pretty cute.
And she tried to have girls, or basketball cheerleaders last year, but she just didn't feel there was enough interest for the girls who tried out. So it's not like she's cobbling it together. She's really tried to make solid decisions for us too. So very happy with this.
Yeah,
And
I
I
am
hear
too.
her say she's gonna do boys and girls home games. Is that what
Yep,
they're
boys
gonna do?
and girls home games. We cannot remember the last time we had cheerleaders.
It's been a
Long time for basketball.
Probably back when Megan Steer and that group and Marcy Johnson did it.
Mhm.
That's right.
Early 2000.
We figured it's been at least, I can't remember. It's been at
It-
least a
I-
decade.
I bet
Prior to
you're-
my superintendency. I mean,
I know they did.
I remember
when I was in
Megan.
school, but that was before 2000.
Well, obviously they had them when I was
That's a
in school
really
too,
long time.
but that was a long time ago.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm excited about that. Maintenance-wise, they finished the asbestos removal last week, as we discussed earlier with the bills. Boy, I'll tell you what, Zinser showed up last week to put the fence up. Gave a tour to Jeff and John Kaufman. Linda was there Friday, and Derek, kind of a last tour, and even talking to Derek, Joe, and I had a conversation about putting some to paper. When do they think they'll actually start the tear down? And, you know, there's still a lot of things that the destruction company needs to get out of there before they can, you know, tear it down and haul away the remains of different light fixtures, you know, the ballasts and whatnot.
Okay.
So they are a couple weeks from the main structure, but because the gymnasium had the least amount of that material, they dove into that today. And it will also give them, from what little I know, more access to parts of the building, having that piece down, to get in and to do that.
Okay.
But time will tell, and when Zimmer's ready, not to be Mr. Obvious, but they're gonna take it and go. So we're at that
Take long.
phase now.
Well, yeah, why
Um,
wait? I mean, we're
I
ready,
think you're looking at this week
really.
of getting the stuff out, because basically what they have to do is get in, get all the lights down, get all the ballasts and the light bulbs, all that.
Okay.
And they have another company that comes in and does that, and they were there tonight, already starting.
And
So I have a feeling by Monday, they're gonna start
Wow.
taking the rest of it.
Big boot.
Probably won't take long.
Well-
It's,
Yeah.
And I know Joe's had the conversation, and I've had conversations, and he's worked directly more with them about because we get a lot of questions in the community about people wanting bricks. And Zinser, almost every project they said they've done, if not every project.
School projects, every one of them, they want bricks.
Good,
So
so
They're gonna
it's
take
not
and
a,
set them on the outside of the fenced-in
I'm
area so that people
Good.
can get.
that's,
The only thing I ask is that people don't take 700 of them to build a new grill or something. I mean, take some, but
Please be considerate to everyone that would like a piece of Wilton
For
history.
memorabilia, not to build something, yes.
not necessarily for resale.
No, it's,
Exactly.
But they said they will set some out and they will put more out, but it'll be a point of how much they can, put out there. But they will put bricks out so that people can,
good.
and it'll be on the outside of the work area so we don't have to worry about.
That's what I was hoping to.
So,
All right,
Been a
good.
lot of interest in that,
I know.
and rightfully so.
Yeah, and there's a lot of bricks. There should be enough to go around,
Well,
right?
we've
I
talked
mean-
about this before too. The problem is, so
Yeah.
much of those, when they tear it down, the bricks are stuck together because of the mortar, and then you're not gonna have these beautiful,
No.
bricks that are right out from Menards. I mean, there's going to
No.
be, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of bricks they can get.
Yeah.
Some writing on something?
Never know. So I'd like to meet with the maintenance committee sometime before Christmas.
Well, we have to find the other guy.
Yep, I know. He is a
MIA.
farmer, which it's been stated
Before, yeah.
publicly.
Yeah.
Many times.
So I know he's
It's
busy.
okay, it's okay.
But
We miss him.
I do want to give Joe Ragatz a lot of credit. We have had a lot of positive publicity with our, flagpole area, and he's really been the spearhead of that effort. He's taken a lot of great ideas from the board and the different people and then put into reality. And even talking to Joe today, a lot of the outside projects are wrapped up now, if not very close. And now it's coming indoors and looking at our locker room facilities, and it's always, well, what's next?
Mhm.
And there's always the what's next piece, and we're ready to dig into that as the weather starts to turn. So,
Do we know if we anticipate any change orders for Zinser? Is that possible, that their bill will be higher than their bid?
it's a good question. I want to say no, only because there's not as many unknowns in the deconstruction as there was in the asbestos. But for me to say with 100% certainty there won't be, I can't say that. But I know it's a lot more focused on, here's the bid, here's the number of square feet in that building.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, should be close from a budgetary standpoint, I would think.
We hope.
Pool board, anything quick on the pool board?
No.
Okay, it's good. I hate to say no news is good news, but sometimes, unfortunately, that's the case. I have nothing on our goodwill and policy. It will be interesting, statewide, legislatively, kind of with the policy and legislative piece, with the Republicans being in control of the House and the Senate, and the gubernatorial position. So, the smarter balanced assessment, there's been discussion about how to fund that. There's talk, Governor Branstad last year wanted to take part of the 1 cent sales tax, the penny, and put it toward water quality. I know the House is not in favor of that, even though, you got R's and R's, but there's just a lot of uncertainty educationally and all kinds of funding pieces on what could happen. Collective bargaining, I've read different pieces on that too. So they're always interesting sessions, but this will be even more intriguing given they've got the trifecta.
And our supplemental assistance, is that what they call it now? Or it has not been set for next year, and that could take long again this year.
Yeah.
What they were supposed to set last year
I
for
know, they're
next year,
behind.
so.
Well, there's talk, do they want to change the law? Which I like the way it's written, they just haven't followed it. And there's no, it puts more pressure on the party in power because there's no excuse, let's say, for setting SSA when it's like, well, the other side's not working with us. Well, you control all three, so if it's not set, that's internal, not external. So,
It's a pain to do a budget when you don't know what SSA is going to be. And it's been like that way too many times.
so, next regular meeting, 5:30, December 12th, and we have the hearings prior. So that's all I have.
I'd entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.
Tony, your job is to go out and go over the Mauer fields and see if Gary's
He's really.
tied to a fence post somewhere.
Carol is in Cancun.
There's a mad cow.
I heard about it in the video. He has a lot.